Okay, get ready for some more political rants about literal Nazis in the Captain America book by J. Michael Straczynski. The first issue, of course, had some pro-communist propaganda to it. It had a Nazi rally where the Nazis were giving out food, but they were bad guys, but they're just giving out free food to people in a park. And we continue from them giving out free food to people in a park to just really show how scary they are, because they're giving a speech. And it, of course, trying to make it look like Hitler giving a speech here a little bit, with the hair and all that. And then Steve Rogers starts asking questions. And of course, Steve Rogers is a scrawny teenager at this point who's barely scraping by, barely able to, he's looking for a house to find and all that. And for some reason, he's like this expert on foreign policy and expert on world events. And he mentions here, and this is set in 1936, about Nazi concentration camps. Well, unfortunately, JMS is not an expert on history or world events, and he just has a cursory knowledge like all wokeites do, that Hitler bad, concentration camps, Holocaust, oh my. And so just use those words and it's going to scare people. Well, this is 1936. The Allies didn't discover the concentration camps, and this is in what was happening in them, until 1942. So we're actually 6 years prior to that happening and occurring on the world stage. And yet for some reason, Steve Rogers, this guy who is a teenage kid who is not in the war effort whatsoever, has not been overseas, knows everything about them. And so this is inaccuracy on a historic level immediately. That should have been caught by an editor, but we're at Marvel Comics these days. Look at how much dialogue they're throwing into this just to give some backstory and argue Nazi politics. And of course, the Nazis have criticized communists in here because they're the bad guys, and the concentration camps criticize communists. You see how JMS tries to tie that in, and it becomes this political rant right here. Steve Rogers gets beat up by some Nazis and run out of town, and that's it. And then we go to modern day. Okay, bad guys are talking. Next, Steve Rogers is talking. Next, he's talking to a literal immigrant, and this now it's the hardworking immigrant trope. And I've been working so hard, I've been trying to do things all my life and be a good worker. And Steve Rogers is like, oh, that's the American dream, yeah. Okay, more pages of talking. Spider-Man shows up, and usually the rule of thumb is like you have Spider-Man make a guest appearance in issue 3 because of a new book. And you try to do that for like new books, like, some new concept that's coming out, because it might not be standing on its own. You want to get the Spider-Man fans to check it out and come in. So you do that. So I guess Marvel thought they needed that for Captain America issue number 2 already. A bad sign. But they talk, and Spider-Man like has him stake out a thing. And this is the only time we see Captain America in costume. And as you see, we get this generic lazy 3-panel thing. This is like a Bendisism in comics, where they just kind of stand there and it's copy-pasted figures to make it there. And then we go back in time to the Nazis again. Okay, well, what's happening with Captain America? Talk about the Nazis back in the day. And in this one, they're setting up this thing where like Baron Zemo, the Elder, is in the 30s. And Steve Rogers, before he's even Captain America, is going to have this Captain America-esque adventures, like literally, and here's some Orthodox Jews walking the street that are getting harassed by the literal Nazis at the end of this book again. And they're setting up a cringy sort of thing where it doesn't make sense for a little like scrawny Steve Rogers to do this because, of course, he's not Captain America at this juncture. So back in the modern times, we get more villains. And then it ends the book as we see the sad Jews getting helped by Steve Rogers in the past. So as you can see, there was 4 panels total that had Captain America in costume, and we're in issue number 2. He's already set up his stuff in issue number 1, and now we are slowly talking our way to death in a very boring book right here. And a lot of it has to do with 1936, which doesn't even make sense timeline-wise. A lot of it has to do because America is not even going to enter the war until the 40s, of course. Then it's going to have this like AIM thing, which is very slowly developing. And then there's a bunch of Steve Rogers talking about home improvement building. This is a disaster. Whoever greenlit this is crazy because it's just absolutely not a superhero comic in any sense of the world. Like this whole deal of Spider-Man and Captain America adventuring really didn't happen. I mean, you had a couple panels of him standing there and waiting, and the twist was nothing happened to Spider-Man, and he called out help for no reason, and Captain America got annoyed by it. That was it. It was supposed to be funny, haha, I guess. But you don't have Captain America in the comic. This is just as bad as the Superman walking around nonsense. I'm not going to fly. I'm going to walk around and go on a walkabout for 6 issues. He's doing the same thing to Captain America. He's just rehashing that plot where Captain America is not doing anything and he's not actually fighting any villains and nothing's actually happening. We're 2 issues in, and this is just a complete train wreck of just pedantic dialogue about politics and a pedantic dialogue about literal Nazis. And it's just cringy and eye-rolling. The art is like, it's just the generic art, and of course you see the copy-paste panels. Did it twice in this issue. In issue number 1, I saw it, I think, 3 or 4 times. So it is just using these kind of like lazy comic book tropes that don't work and, of course, are not providing any fun or excitement for anybody. So this is a crap book. Shit the book. Again, J. Michael Straczynski's really lost it over the years. It's really sad. He did a great job with Babylon 5 back in the day, but he needs to write his way, care about writing again, and actually get off the politics bandwagon. So sad. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.